Prior to white settlement, of course, there were Aboriginal structures in Melbourne, which then gave way to structures that were built by the white settlers.
It's a dinky little port, and then gold is discovered in the 1850s. You know, Melbourne's not even 20, and it just blows up.
The first settlers here, they built individual houses on big lots, and then because there were only horse and carts and feet, relatively high density housing was the next step, and that was terraces, which was exactly what they were building in across the UK at the time.
All of them have this sort of British roots, and with that they also have sort of British culture built in the room sizes, a smaller, life is sort of private within the home as well. I don't just mean for the nuclear family, I mean for people within the home.
And these were mainly Georgian influence, which was the architecture of the time. And these were inappropriate for the climate and the conditions, really. And of course that then meant that the next phase in development was Victorian architecture.
And then as the century went on, Victorian architecture in general got more and more elaborate, and we went from plain brick terraces without verandas and with roofs that you could see to incredibly elaborate facades that went a long way up past the roof in cement rendered balustrades and lady faces and masks and swags and clamshells, and the Victorians liked to mix and match and throw it all together.
This gave way to architecture that was becoming more influenced by Hollywood movies. So for example, in the 1920s you saw Californian bungalows being built, and then after that we had the Art Deco influence and then modernist.
Look at things like the modernist movement of the 30s, 40s, 50s. When you're looking at that, you're often looking at Jewish architects who are forced to flee Europe and who come to Australia and do amazing things.
More renowned modernist designers like Robin Boyd or Roy Grounds, I believe that they all submitted designs for the small homes services. So different people come to places like David Jones and buy these plans for modernist homes. They're sort of directed more towards a future aesthetic, and in that way a lot of migrants were able to, I guess, buy into the Australian dream and be part of an Australian future.
It is definitely part of Melbourne's DNA that we have creative architects who are allowed and encouraged to be creative, certainly compared to many other cities, though people from those cities come here and say, what's going on here? Everything looks completely different, they're crazy.